There it goes.
What's up, big ballers, shot callers? Welcome from the Grid to Ruin Sports Talk Show. I'm your co-host, Big Ken, and joined by my best friend and co-host, Monty Brown.
Hey,
A lot to talk about in college NFL, Monty. Oh my goodness. Border war between UW&Oregon was a great game, another classic. Notre Dame whooping up on USC. Then we got Penn State, Ohio State playing right now, and then we got
yeah,
Tennessee and Alabama coming up later. Then in the NFL, we have the New York Giants game, which is crazy, and all kinds of things. No unbeaten teams left in the NFL, man. So there's a lot to talk about
wow,
today.
yeah, weird week, a very strange weekend last week.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
strange. Yeah, a lot of crazy games, man. Um, all right, Monty, let's talk about Michigan and Coach Harbaugh. I'll let you talk on that.
man, that's crazy. I sent you that link on ESPN when I saw that, and I guess something about recording plays or illegal scouting, somewhat. I'm not too up to date on exactly what's going on, but man, from what I'm looking at, it doesn't seem like what he's doing or what he's accused of doing or what the Michigan football program did. It doesn't seem illegal. I mean, seems like just normal scouting, sending your coaches to watch other teams practice, taking notes, writing down signals. I didn't know that was illegal.
Yeah, I didn't know it. That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, man, like we mentioned before, I mean, looks like the NCAA's had a little bone to pick with Mr. Harbaugh for a little bit, and this might be their way of getting at him again.
Yep.
And he's a good college coach, and he can easily say, "I don't have to take this. I'm going NFL." College football is good, better with a coach like Jim Harbaugh. Your Deion Sanders, guys with that kind of nature, that attitude. Someone you want to keep an eye on, bro. But yeah, this is weird. My personal opinion, I don't think anything will come out of this. You might know more about this. I know you're a Michigan fan. I don't know. That's why I sent you that message. I'm not a big fan or a hater of Michigan. Just depends on who they play, but I do watch them.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think it's just a witch hunt against Harbaugh. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I think it is too. I didn't know anything about it actually till you sent it to me. Yeah, like in my comment to you on Facebook was obviously I don't condone cheating in any way, but I don't think it's cheating. I know in baseball, sign stealing is illegal, like what Houston Astros did in the World Series because
Oh yeah,
but
it's not the
baseball,
same thing here. This is different.
yeah, this is totally different. Baseball is a different thing, because in baseball, if you know what pitch is coming, like your chances of hitting it or go up tremendously because you have to think in baseball.
Yes.
If you hit three base hits out of 10 at bats, you are a 300 hitter and you're considered like one of the better hitters in the
Yeah.
game.
We can go to the
And,
Hall of Fame with that.
and in most sports, if you're doing something 30% of the time, you're not doing very good. So
Right.
baseball is a totally different game than like how we look at 30%. But 30% in baseball for hitting is really good. Like the pitcher always
Yeah.
has an advantage, in baseball. So baseball and football are different. Yeah, I don't see nothing wrong with it. So I can see where it's wrong in baseball, but not in football because people are scouting all the time. Even in my high school games, for me being official, like they're scouting each other. Like
Yeah.
they're
Right.
scouting videos for high school football in Washington State. I mean, they scout. So I don't necessarily get it. I do think I think it's a witch hunt too. Harbaugh's just pissed them off, and now they're trying to find ways to get him. And it also, I heard it start with this Rutgers game. I guess the Rutgers coach complained, and Rutgers are probably, I won't say they'll never beat Michigan, but their chances of beating Michigan are highly unlikely each year.
Right.
Because
Right.
so yeah, they're two completely different football programs. So I don't know why the Rutgers are starting all this stuff because they lost the game, of course. And I think they got blown out. I mean, they're better. They're better than what they used to be. They're not quite the doormat they used to be, but they're still not good enough to beat a team like Michigan who recruits
Right.
heavily each year, like Michigan, Ohio State, those kind of teams. Like, but
Yes.
Rutgers can beat more mid-level teams now in the Big Ten, but they're not going to beat a Michigan unless Michigan really falls apart. So I don't know why Rutgers are starting this, but I heard that's the team that kind of got this thing going. Was they complained to the NCAA, so
Mhm.
that's what I've heard. So yeah, But I read a lot of comments on Facebook, and everyone thinks it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
Most of the comments are like, "I don't know what's going on with this. Like, it's crazy." So, I think a lot of people agree with me and you. Like, it's kind of, yeah. It's hopefully nothing comes out of it. Uh,
Maybe there's needs to be a clear. Well, I'm sure these universities know a clear definition on what's illegal,
yeah, they need to
what's
be
not.
very. They need to make it
Right.
very specific. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because from
No gray area.
what I saw, what I read, I'm like, man, doesn't everybody do this?
Yeah, I think everyone does.
Yeah.
So that's why
So
I don't understand why they're going after him. Yeah, I think
yeah,
I just know the Rutgers coach complained about it to NCAA, and now they're investigating. So yeah,
yeah. I don't think it'll be a big deal. We just need to. They need to be careful what going after this guy because he can leave and he can
yeah.
get a job in the NFL anytime.
They've been asking for
And
the past couple of years, and he's been staying at Michigan because he's really trying to build something special at Michigan, his alma mater. So hopefully, he stays. Like I said before, I'm not crazy about Harbaugh, but he is a great coach, and he is really good for college football. There's no doubt about that.
yeah,
So yeah, I hope he stays. Um, let's talk about the border war, UW versus Oregon. That was a really good game. UW's won 2 years in a row now, both nail biter games. UW coming back from behind in both games,
yes.
and they've won 2 years in a row. So this border war rivalry is starting to get heated up. I only saw the first quarter, unfortunately, 'cause I had to go to some Pee Wee games, but I did see the first quarter and got off to like a really good start. And both quarterbacks for both teams played really well. They both threw for over 300 yards.
Well, yeah, I didn't get a chance to see any of it, unfortunately, but I was keeping up the score. Whenever I get a chance to see Penix Jr. play, I mean, I saw him the first week of the college season, and I became a fan of his. So
Yeah,
I know he had a pretty good game. Like I said, I didn't get to see it, but man, it's one of those rivalries that I was unaware of until you told me. You live up in that area. I didn't know that was a big rivalry. So that's another one that I'm going to keep an eye on. It looks like it's just as intense of a rivalry as the Red River Shootout, maybe even bigger. Wow,
yeah.
it's something. So, and the score showed it. I mean, back and forth the whole game, a close game throughout. It was a battle. So that's something I'll be watching closely.
Yeah, both scores were similar. They both scores from the past years have both been in the 30s, and they've been one score games. So both games have been very similar. Whereas back and forth, then UW gets like the last score of the game to take the lead, and then they hold on. It's ended the
Yes.
same way. Um, I don't know when it became a rivalry, but when I noticed it became a rivalry was when Marcus Mariota was playing for Oregon. That's when it became a rivalry. That's when I really noticed it started heating up. You know, I don't know, 10 years ago, however long Mariota was there, like maybe 10 years ago.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that's when it became really big. So yeah, because he was of course really good, always running around the whole entire football field with his 4.4 40 speed and
Yes.
throwing passes and running, and he was doing crazy things up in Oregon. Yeah, that's when Oregon was really whooping up on UW. But now UW has been coming back the last 4 or 5 years and making it interesting because Oregon was dominating this rivalry early, but now UW is making its mark, so it's making it heat up even that much more because now UW is starting to win some games, and both teams are and lately both teams have been ranked, so that makes it really good. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's always better when both teams are good,
yeah,
not one sided.
both teams been really good lately, so that's made it really really good. Alabama barely beat Arkansas 24-21. That game kind of surprised me. I didn't see it, but I saw the final scores. You like, you kidding me? Alabama won by a field goal against Arkansas. I mean,
Wow.
they usually blow this team out, so that was surprising. So I don't know what's going on with Alabama. I mean, they're still good, obviously. They're still Alabama. They got Nick Saban, but they just don't seem dominant at all this year.
No, not like they used to be, Ken. It's like we talked about. A lot of this could be just teams catching up to them. I know they're losing players to the NFL. Well, man, there are many NFL team for crying out loud in college football. So, man, you got 10 or 12 guys that go to that draft every year. And I know they lost a couple of them to the draft last year. Just teams are catching up. And I'm not an Alabama fan, but they're going to be good for a long time to come. They'll be back. I mean,
Oh
they'll be in the
yeah,
conversation for the national championship this year. They're just not the same as what we've been used to seeing.
yeah. Past couple years they've been good, but not like you're not national championship worthy. Yeah, you're right. They're
Right.
still a legit top 10, top 15 team. They're ranked 11 now. So,
Yeah.
but they're definitely a top 15 team. There's no doubt. I think their offense is just struggling a little bit. They have a new quarterback, and I think he's starting to play better. But yeah, but I think their offense is what is really hurting them right now. They had to get their offense figured out.
Mhm.
Georgia only beat a team 37-20. Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt has no football team, so that was kind of surprising too. Yes, they won by 3 scores, but 37-20, that's not like Georgia dominant either. So
No.
I think Georgia and Alabama are both a squeaking by games. So I think Georgia is very beatable in the college football playoffs
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If
Not
I'm
saying
not
they still,
mistaken, if I'm not mistaken, they're still ranked number one, right?
I think
But
they
man,
are, but they're barely squeaking by, man. I'm telling you, they've
yeah,
only had one game where they blew someone out, and that was against a ranked Kentucky team. But now Kentucky is out of top 25 because they've lost a couple games in a row since they got their butts whipped by Georgia. They've kind of fallen apart. Just
yeah,
like my son's school, Wazoo, what I'm wearing, they've looked bad the past 2 weeks, falling out of the top 25. I don't know what's going on with them either. So that both those teams are just falling off the map all of a sudden. They kind of lost their way in the middle of the season. Um, Notre Dame whooped up on USC. That was kind of expected. We know USC has no defense, 48-20.
yeah,
That's another big rivalry game over the years. That's always a good game to watch. Those games can be really close and really intense. But yeah, Notre Dame just whooped them. Notre Dame isn't as good either. I think they're nothing against Dwayne's, and that's Dwayne's team. I always think Notre Dame is kind of overrated, but they have lost 2 games already this year, so that was still a big win from them to bounce back from losing 2 out of their last 3 games. That they look pretty good. They look sharp. They were ready for that game. So
yeah. I was able to catch the second half that night, and Notre Dame was already up by a lot. But now I saw why. They're loaded, man. They got can't think of his name, but tight end's very good. The quarterback's excellent.
yeah,
And yeah, and they were just getting everything they wanted on that USC defense. I mean, everybody can score on that USC defense. I
yep,
mean, you saw what Colorado did a couple of weeks ago, almost beat them actually.
yeah. They made a
So
huge comeback. Yeah.
yeah, so USC is going to have this trouble against good ranked teams every week
Yep.
because of this defense or lack thereof. They don't have much of a. They haven't stopped anybody yet. I don't think.
Now it hurt them last year and it hurt them this year. Like I alluded to a couple of shows ago, like USC has
Yeah,
the offense, but they got no defense. And they
yeah,
only scored 20 points this game, so obviously their offense didn't do that well. I didn't see Caleb Williams' stats, but that they didn't score the points that they usually score, so they were shut down a little bit. So Notre Dame seemed like Notre Dame played well on both sides of the ball in
yeah.
that game. The game that's going on now, Penn State versus Ohio State. I personally want Penn State to win. It's Ohio
Yes,
State's up 3-0 right now. It's close,
yes.
middle of the first quarter, but hopefully they're playing at Ohio State. But I hope Penn State wins this game because I cannot stand Ohio State being a Michigan fan. I hope Penn State gets them. So yeah,
I'm not a fan of either one of these teams, but
neither am I. But I dislike Ohio State a lot more than I dislike Penn State. So I gotta go for Penn State here.
man, look at that. They're showing CJ Stroud right now. How about that?
Yeah.
Watching his old team. But yeah, this is a good weekend for college football, man. Got this game going on. We got Alabama and Tennessee going on.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's something else. But yeah, I would like to see Penn State win this game. Should be a good one. Looking forward to it. See what happens here.
Yeah. Both. Yeah. Penn State has a good defense. Ohio State's defense has improved. Ohio State, usually their weaknesses are defense, and their offense is really good. But like I was talking to my dad this past weekend, Ohio State's offense has been the problem this year, which is very surprising because their offense is usually really good. One of the best in the nation. That's why they can usually compete well against SEC teams because they have the athletes like the SEC does, like Alabama and Georgia and LSU and all these teams. Usually their defense is the weakness, but this year is kind of the opposite, where their offense is just not doing very much. So that's surprising because they have really good wide receivers and usually really good running backs. And
Yeah.
so I don't know. I'm not exactly sure why their offense is struggling, but they are struggling this year. And for the Alabama-Tennessee matchup later on today, 17 Tennessee versus number 11 Alabama. I think they're playing Alabama because last year they played in Tennessee, and Tennessee got the big upset win with that funky looking field goal to win the game. It was
Yes.
an ugly
That
kick,
was something.
but
I
it went
remember
in.
that.
That's all it counts. It was a really weird kick, but he got it. He got that thing in there. I think it got partially blocked, but he still had enough leg strength to get in. It was like a 40-yard kick, so that was actually kind of impressive. Like someone gets their hands on it. It's like a 40-yard kick and it still goes in. So that was actually that was pretty impressive, actually, thinking about
Yeah.
it. I was wondering why it looked funky. It's because someone had their fingertips on it. So, yeah. But
This has become a big rivalry too. Maybe it's always been that way. We're just now paying attention to it, that both teams are good, sort of in the middle of the pack. Tennessee's always is where they always are, middle of the pack, and like we talked about earlier, Alabama's fallen a little bit. I mean, for Alabama standards, they've fallen a little bit. I mean, a lot of teams in the NCAA would like to be where Alabama is actually, but for them, this is a little bit different to be in the middle. But yeah, this should be a good game. I think Alabama might win this game, but I'll be watching it go for Tennessee.
yeah, I think Alabama will win it too, but I want Tennessee to win.
Yeah.
Tennessee could do it 2 years in a row, and Alabama isn't as good, like we said, but Tennessee was a little bit better last year also, so it's kind of interesting. I mean, Tennessee is still a legit top 25 team, but they're not as dominant because they lost guys to NFL also. Their quarterback, a couple of good receivers, so
yes,
that might be the difference where Alabama could still squeak this one out. But hopefully it's a good game. I just want it to be a good game and not be a blowout. That's all I'm looking for. Let's move on to the NFL, Monty. No unbeaten teams remaining. 49ers and Eagles both lost. What's your takeaway on that? Who do you think was more surprising, the Eagles losing or the 49ers losing?
Well, before I found out Jim Schwartz's luck, well, his success, not luck, his success against Shanahan, whether it's as a coordinator or as a head coach, that's not much of an upset. I mean, man, Cleveland's defense is legit. They're number one right now, best in the NFL right now, better than our Cowboys defense. They're good. So you could blame the weather. It was rainy, but that was for both teams. They both had to deal with that weather. I know Deebo Samuel was banged up. I know McCaffrey was banged up. So knowing Jim Schwartz's success against Shanahan, I still would have picked San Francisco, even if I did know that before. But I would say the bigger upset would be the Jets.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because their quarterback is starting to play a lot better. Zach Wilson's playing much better. He's really come on strong in the past 2 or 3 games here. He definitely has his confidence, which is good to see.
Yes. And speaking of defenses, the Jets defenses, they're one of the best as well.
Yeah, they are.
Especially against the Eagles
and
49ers played good defenses this week and ended up with an L. So, yeah, it was a weird week. I wouldn't have picked either one of those teams to lose that game. I don't think I did, but man, that's why they play the game. That's what makes it the NFL so great. You never know what's going to happen one week to the next.
Yep. Yeah, Jalen Hurts threw 3 interceptions. He had his worst game of the season.
Right.
The last interception is what hurt them because it went in. They got in for the game-winning score. But he threw 3 picks. I think all of them were second half. I know at least 2 of them were second half, maybe all 3, but I know 2 of them for sure. So I was watching that game, and he had a bad game. But he was also getting out a lot of sacks though too, like he always does. He had a good and bad game all at the same time. Like he was so good at getting out of pressure, like he always is. He would always avoid a sack. And he still got sacked a couple times, but he avoided like 5 or 6 more sacks because of his legs. And he gets to the outside, and he's completing these passes, or he's running for first downs. Like my goodness, he was, just, So it was this, insane. So but he did throw picks. That's what cost them the game. So in San Francisco, McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel got banged up like in the first series of the game, I think, and McCaffrey got banged up later, I think, like in the second quarter. I was watching that game mostly too. But as badly as San Francisco played, they had a chance to win the game at the end. The kicker missed a 40-yard field goal, which is very makeable in NFL, and he just hooked it. So Brock Purdy still, and even though Brock Purdy didn't have a good game, he still got them. He still played good enough to give them a chance to win at the end. The kicker just, unfortunately, for the 49ers, missed a very makeable kick in the NFL. So,
and as a Cowboy fan, I'm not sweating those losses. Those are fine with me. They can lose the rest of the season like it. So.
Let's talk about the Giants game real quick before we get into some picks for this week.
Yeah.
The Giants Buffalo game was crazy. The way the first half ended, the way the game ended was exactly the same way. The first half, backup quarterback from Buffalo who actually outplayed the Buffalo quarterback, Josh Allen. He outplayed him. I can't think
Yes.
of I know it was Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor
Yes.
outplayed him, but he made a
Yeah.
huge mistake at the end of the first half by audibling for a run with no
Yes.
timeouts. I don't know why he did that. That completely messed up the game. But
Right.
even though that happened, he still had a chance at the end of the game. And he made a good throw. They called a penalty to get him on first to go to the 1 yard line, which was a good defensive pass interference. That was pass interference number 43. But this is my question: do you think there was a second pass interference on the last play of the game? That was the controversial no call. Did you think
Yeah,
holding Waller, the tight end?
it was. It was. In cases like that, in most cases, the refs are going to swallow the whistle anyway. And historically, what I've seen in last second plays,
Yeah, you're not trying to blow on that unless it's something very obvious. Yeah,
yeah,
you're not. Yeah,
yeah,
they don't
and
try to blow.
that one
Even
was.
in our
I've
game
seen worse
here.
than that. I've seen worse than that where it would have gotten the whistle. Yeah, it was. It would have been the right call, but uh, I'm on the fence on that one.
Yeah, in
Uh,
full speed, live speed, it looks like it's not very big. Of course, when you have all
right.
this replay in the NFL college, we can watch it 100 times in a row. You can see things, but like live speed, in-game speed, I could see why he didn't blow his whistle. And like you said, even in our high school games, like we're not trying to blow a whistle at the very end of the game. Let's it has to be there like 1,000%. You have
Right.
to, I mean, it can't be no 50-50 thing because we always say don't blow on some 50-50 thing at the end of the game because that makes us look bad. So it has to be there where everyone can see it on tape. It has to be
Yeah.
big. We always say make it big, man. You better make it big if you're gonna do something like that. It better be
Yeah.
huge. So I can see why he didn't do that. Thursday night game, second half. The first half was boring, but the second half got really good, and New Orleans offense got much better in the second half, and they made it. They ended up tying at 24-24 after being down 24-9, and then of course, Jacksonville won 31-24, but that tight end for New Orleans missed that catch.
Oh, would have won the game for him, man. And I saw him at the end of the game, man.
Would have tied it. Yeah.
Yeah, they would have had a chance. You're right. He would have tied it, but man, he was just sick at the end. I mean, we all would have been if we were in this position, but man, that's tough. I mean, it happens right off his hands, man. But I mean, yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. I mean, he'll come back from it.
Yeah.
Jacksonville was dominating that game pretty much most of that game until that second half, and
Yeah.
the Saints did a good job of coming back. They had a chance to tie it at the end with a touchdown, and who knows what would happen after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was tough. I felt bad for that guy.
I felt
That
bad
was
for him too because you could see he was devastated and distraught on the sideline after the end of the game. Like he didn't get up to shake hands, not because he's being a bad sport, but he was just so devastated. He was sitting on the bench and
right.
he didn't even want to move. Yeah, he was
Right.
definitely feeling horrible. Like, man, I just lost this game for my team. I felt bad for him too. But like you said, there'll be more games and he can make up for it later.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah,
New Orleans offense is really struggling this year for whatever reason. But they did get it going in the second half, but they've been struggling on offense all year long. So I don't know what's going on with that. And you can see Derek Carr is getting very frustrated with his receivers.
Yeah, yelling at receivers, yelling at his coach. I know that happens to everybody, but from what I'm understanding, this has been happening quite often.
Yeah,
A lot. So
you
they're
need to watch
not
it.
on the same page for some reason.
Yeah, they're not on the same page. All right, let's get into some picks since we got like a little less than 5 minutes here. Falcons at Buccaneers. Who do you got?
Ooh, Falcons at Bucks. Man, every time I pick the Falcons, they disappoint me. That's
I know,
crazy.
same here.
Sheesh,
I love
man.
John Robinson, like you said, but Dirty Birds are just ever since that Super Bowl loss 4 or 5 years ago, they just haven't been right, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Well, they've been burning me all week, so I'm not going to pick them this week. So, well, for the whole season they've been burning me. So, no, the Buccaneers. I think they got to bounce. They need to bounce back this week as well. Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I think they'll bounce back.
Yeah. So
I
have
got
them
the Bucks. Raiders at Bears. I got the Raiders, a visiting team. I mean, Justin Fields is playing better, but they still don't got their offense right. I think he got hurt. I don't know if he's coming back. I know he got hurt in the last game.
both teams are playing their backups. I just heard that. I just saw the alert this morning. Justin
Okay.
Fields won't be playing. So
Ooh, that's
yeah,
gonna be interesting. I still
that
got the
should be a good game.
Raiders.
Yeah, so do I. Not by much. Not by much, but yeah.
Okay. Browns at Colts. I got the Browns with their defense, like we are talking about earlier, upset in San Francisco. I got the Browns. Hopefully, they still have a letdown after a huge win, and then they just kind of like tank the next week. But I think they'll win because Colts are down their backup too. I know Minshew's a good backup, but
Yeah.
I he still does weird things, so. I mean, he's a good guy to have as a backup, but he's still not like a legit. I don't think he's a legit starting quarterback though. So, but he's a good backup to have. I got the Browns though. So,
Yeah, I like Cleveland in this one as well. Yeah, Colts have their quarterback. Richardson's out for the rest of the season. Minshew's a legit backup, like you mentioned. But man, that Browns defense, best in the league right now.
yeah,
And they showed it last week. They showed why. And I think they'll show it again this week.
yeah, yep. Commanders at Giants. That's a tough game because both teams aren't playing good and their offense are just so. Giants' offense is really bad. Commanders' offense
Yeah.
is kind of okay. Commanders at Giants. I don't know if the Giants will bounce back and get a second win, or the Commanders will win because both teams are not playing that great right now.
Yeah, Commanders 3-3. Giants are 1-5. And man, Saquon just can't stay healthy. I think he played a little bit this past weekend. Did he play at all? I don't
He
remember.
did.
But,
He had a good second
yeah.
half. He was completely shut down the first half, but he did.
Yeah.
He did have a huge fourth quarter in that game last week. They could have won against
Yeah.
whoever they're playing, but the mistakes we were talking about Buffalo, the
Yes.
mistake Tyrod Taylor made. So yeah, that's a tough one. I guess I got gosh. I guess I got Commanders. I think the Giants will keep on screwing it up, man. I think the
Yeah,
Giants.
these NFC East matchups are always tough to pick. I think Washington's a little bit better than they are. The Giants are still struggling with their quarterback. I'm not sure if he's going to be the guy, if he's the guy in the future. But yeah, I'm taking Washington.
Yeah. Lions at Ravens. I got I think Ravens will get a win. I think Ravens will pull off the win. Even though the Lions are playing some really good football right now, I think Ravens will bounce back. I think Ravens will win.
Wow, that's a tough place for Detroit to go
Yeah, very
into
tough.
Baltimore and try to get a win there. I'm taking the Ravens just because they're at home. If the
Yeah.
Lions were playing at home, I would take.
Yeah. I got you. Bills at Patriots. I got Bills because Patriots are really struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bills shouldn't have a problem here.
Yep. Cardinals at Seahawks. I definitely got the Seahawks. They'll bounce back from losing a close one in Cincinnati. I think they'll be all over the Cardinals. I think they'll really get it going at home here, and they'll bounce back.
Yeah. Yeah, look, the Cardinals have their only Super Bowl win against the Cowboys. It was their Super Bowl, so that's probably all we'll see. Yeah, Seahawks.
All right, one more game will close the Sunday night game, which is a big one. Dolphins at Eagles. I hope the Dolphins could pull off the upset,
Yeah.
but Eagles might bounce back. But I definitely want the Dolphins to win to help out the Cowboys in our division. So hopefully the Dolphins can pull it off.
I expect a 35-32 final. Dolphins.
All right. Well, we got close. We talked a lot about college football and other things, so we didn't get to cover all the games. But thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll be back next week for another show.
Yes. Keep it up. Keep watching. Subscribe, like, and any comments, please let us know. Thank you guys.
Peace.